Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome to another episode of Bring It Back. This being a show where I talk about TV shows that were canceled and or short-lived that I would like to see get brought back in some shape or form. For today's episode, I'm going to talk about the USA Network show Treadstone. Now, if you're unfamiliar with Treadstone it's kind of this actioning, kind of crime drama, but more kind of, I guess, like spy thriller ish show. It's actually a show that takes place in the Jason Bourne universe. Basically, if you're unfamiliar with the Jason Bourne universe, it's the Jason Bourne movies, you know, like the Bourne Identity, Bourne Ultimate. I want to say the second one's called the Bourne Supremacy. There's at least 5 movies that I'm aware of. 'Cause I think these are actually based on novels too, based on like something I was saying. But regardless, basically it takes place in that same universe. Basically, Treadstone is the name of the thing where they basically turn people into, like, you know, almost like sleeper agents or something, of kind of like, oh, you awaken them and they do what you kind of, you turn them into kind of almost super soldiers type of thing without the superpowers type of situation. Basically the show is basically that project that was kind of shut down by Jason in the movies has kind of been secretly brought back to life. So it's this whole thing of like, all right, you gotta figure out like who brought back Treadstone. It follows like a group of different characters, but it follows like 3 core characters. Basically it's kind of like a very like international show. Like it takes place in, like, you know, the US, Europe at some points, and then Korea, I think specifically North Korea. So it's just like different characters who are all part of this program, because like different like governments, you know, it's not just the US, other governments have kind of taken part in this Treadstone program too. So it's like this giant like web of conspiracies of trying to unravel like who's behind all this, for what purpose and stuff like that, who brought back Treadstone and stuff like that. Because it's interesting because like the show actually kind of it takes place sometimes present day as well as in the past. Like we get like a look at kind of how Treadstone became a thing, because like there's like, because actually it's technically 4 characters, because there's a 4th character from like the 70s that you end up following his story about his involvement in all this, him being kind of one of the first person, because like I said, it's like different governments have had their hands in this project. So it was a really interesting, you know, show. Like it sadly got canceled after 1 season. I actually only found out about like the cancellation fairly recently because I was watching Fat Man Beyond, and you know, Mark Bernard, you know, he said it on like a few occasions in some of the podcasts I'd watched that he had written for the show. So that's how I, you know, knew about it. But it is a situation, I think, like in the way he kind of put it, I think it was just kind of like, you know, not enough people watched the show. It's basically what it came down to. And also because it was kind of the international show that it did cost a lot of money. I'm sure it's kind of got, I think, the same way like Sense8, you know, the Netflix show was like super expensive because that was a very like heavily international show. So, you know, but it's a show that I would like to see get brought back, because obviously not everything was resolved. A lot of stuff was left to, you know, cliffhangers of just like, wait, where is this all going to go? And, you know, I would like to see the show come back, especially for someone who does like the Jason Bourne movies. Granted, I've only seen the first 3. I've never seen, because I know there's the 4th one with Jeremy Renner, and then there's the 5th one, I think, just called Jason Bourne, where Matt Damon returned, you know, as Jason Bourne. I haven't seen those 2, because I'd assume like because the show is set present day, so I'm definitely sure it's after the events of all of the movies, because they do reference Jason, they just don't say him by name, because I'm sure there'd probably be a whole, like, they probably have to pay licensing to kind of say his name specifically, so they always kind of talked around it a little bit, but they do reference him. But once again, to be fair, it's been a while in general since I've seen the movies. But yeah, the show was only slightly freshly canceled because the show aired like last year, so I think there's still, you know, it's one of those things of like, you hope, you don't never know how much of an audience is behind the show, whether or not there's enough people wanting a show to come back. But it's a show I would like to see get brought back, not just for 1 season. This is kind of like give it a chance to have a full life, you know, give it, you know, 4 or 5 seasons preferably. I think 5 is kind of like the nice average. So if the show could live that long, kind of get 4 more seasons, a chance to really grow and tell a very like twisty turny, you know, spy thriller of a, you know, story. I think it'd be very interesting to see the show get a second chance. But really, that's all I want to talk about. Till the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day and goodbye.